Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. I just want to make one brief announcement that I'm doing a sale where if you buy a bundle, the one that's shown, so it's the shampoo, the hair growth pomade, and the rice water aloe leave-in conditioner, you can get 40% off if you buy these three items together. The discount is automatic, and this will be on Etsy from June 3rd to June 7th. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into Iran and the US. The talks are suspended. Iran is not going to sit down with the US and resume any kind of talks. They have canceled, and the Straits of Hormuz is still closed. And, they're just tired. Donald Trump keeps talking about, oh, they're having a peace deal and they're getting close to a solution. And he's telling the public this. And at the same time, he's bombing Iran. And Iran had enough. They had enough. And they already told everybody you can't trust Donald Trump. And it's true. You can't trust Donald Trump. You can't negotiate or work anything out with Donald Trump. So the talks are off, and everything is going to resume with the Straits of Hormuz being closed. And this whole thing was a big waste of time. It's just a stall tactic. But they're tired and they don't want to deal with Donald Trump at all. So nothing is going to change. We're already in June. They've been trying to have these talks since April, and it has not gone anywhere. So I guess I don't blame Iran. How do you keep bombing somebody and expect them to come to the negotiating table? Plus, the last straw for them was Israel bombed Lebanon, and that was part of the ceasefire that Israel had to stop bombing Lebanon. So you got Israel bombing Lebanon and the United States bombing Iran, and they expect peace talks. So the peace talks are dead, and let me get the video up here. All right, y'all, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you.
Iran and the United States have attacked each other over the weekend, as President Trump claimed efforts to reach a deal would all work out well in the end. US Central Command said it had launched what it called self-defense strikes, while Iran said it had targeted a US airbase. Kuwait said its air defense systems had tackled what the foreign ministry called heinous and repeated Iranian attacks.
Central Command revealed that on Saturday and yesterday, the military bombed Iranian radar and drone control sites in response to Iran shooting down an American MQ-1 drone like this one flying over international waters. CENTCOM says the strikes took out Iranian air defenses, a ground control station, and 2 one-way attack drones. No American service members were hurt, according to CENTCOM, but the volleys testify to how fragile the ceasefire is and how all-out war could resume any moment. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat, says the war has been a failure.
The top priority is ending the war in Iran. This has been an absolute disaster for the United States. Obviously, the primary impact is here at home as families and businesses are being ruined by gas prices that are $6 a gallon in some places. But it's just been a humiliation for the United States, and it's made Iran more powerful.
Speaking of gas prices, a gallon costs on average $4.33. That's down 18 cents from a week ago, but still more than $1 higher than 1 year ago.
Well, shit, Iran said we ain't doing no more fucking talking. There is no ceasefire deal on the table because of Lebanon. Last night, WIGS-RS posted this. Said Iran really wants to make a deal. It will be a good one for the United States. Those that are with us complained about Democrats and Republicans who are not in favor of this war, told them to sit back and relax. We'll all work out in the end. Well, that shit doesn't look like it's working out because Israel will not stop landing strikes on Lebanon. They've been doing this ever since the ceasefire was put in place. And Benny Boy is still directing Israel to keep striking at Beirut. I'm going to be real with you. Even if this war stops today, our gas prices are going to remain high until 2027. WIGS-RS still wants harsher language when it comes to Iran's nuclear commitments and its pledge to open the Strait of Hormuz. I thought we had the Strait of Hormuz open. I thought it was open and flowing. And let me be real with you. It's been 93 days since the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. 93 days. In the last 24 hours, only 4 ships have moved through. There's 341 ships still waiting. And yes, I'm going right offline. Somebody gonna have to give in at this negotiation table. And I know it ain't gonna be Iran.
Iran has just announced that they have suspended talks with the United States for a ceasefire after Israel attacked Lebanon. Holding fire towards Lebanon and Gaza were preconditions that Iran asked for in order for a ceasefire with the U.S. to take place. Israel has since attacked Lebanon today, and because of that, Iran has said that they're suspending talks with the U.S. and will completely shut down the Strait of Hormuz. This means gas prices will continue to rise and oil prices will continue to rise as well. My name is Mavea Griffith. I'm a reporter. If you like breaking news like this, be sure to follow me.
In light of the fact that Iran has cut off all negotiations now, because they stuck to a red line, which we don't do in the U.S. You remember Joe Biden's red line and how that went? I shared images of a U.S. soldier surrendering to a guy with a stick 2 months ago, and it was very clear we were losing men. You back out of negotiations when you know you're in a position of strength. This is unconfirmed, of course, and we have to see it actually happen. But it looks like they're going to be closing the Bab el-Mandeb Strait as well, which comes out of the Red Sea. That would choke off even more of the world's energy, and it would completely erase a lot of the rerouting that's been done by Saudi Arabia. And that would require the Houthis working with them as well, which they generally do, but they're their own sovereign group. So 2 straits functionally closed to the axis of Jeffrey would be something, though. CEOs of both Exxon and Chevron have now communicated that over the next couple of weeks, what your boy has been saying for the last month and a half, 2 months, will be coming to fruition as the petroleum reserves dry up. We're definitely about to hit our COVID moment, and it took a little longer than I originally thought it would. That's mostly because I was operating under the fact that the U.S. wouldn't be saving the world with its strategic petroleum reserve. I was operating under the assumption we would stop draining it and stop exporting it. It seems like we're content to sell it off to the highest bidder and deliver some epic profits to our oil companies, so we're going to ride it along until tank bottom, I guess. Might be a good time to buy a bike. Those are going to be super cool and hip soon. I mean, they're already cool, but, people in cars don't think they're cool, so.
So we are just recycling headlines over and over again. Literally, this is exactly the same headline from 2 days ago. Here's the thing. Here's what's really happening. This is what's really happening. We can't get anywhere because they're in the way. And by they, you know exactly what I'm saying. And they're going to continue to get in the way because what they want and what's best for the world and what's best for the United States, not the same thing. They are pushing for a giant land grab, for a colonial expansion. And they're like partway through it already. And they really don't have the permission of the world. Although the UK just banned Hassan Piker and Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks from entering the UK because of their public speech against this country. So this huge push that they are doing to make anyone who speaks out against what's happening into terrorists is in its final phases. And Congress, by the way, already passed the first portion of the bill to combined US and Israeli military. We are like, this is like all lights flashing, emergency, emergency.
The negotiations have completely collapsed as Iran just announced that they're backing out of the negotiations with the United States due to repeated ceasefire violations by Israel against Lebanon and by the United States against Iran. With the Iranians saying, and I quote, "No dialogue will take place until Israel fully withdraws from occupied areas in Lebanon and stops all attacks in both Lebanon and Gaza," per the Iranian Tasnim News, who also went on to say, also, the resistance front and Iran have resolved to completely block the Strait of Hormuz and activate other fronts, including the Bab al-Mandab Strait, which is the other major strait in the Middle East, in order to punish the Zios and their supporters. The price of oil shot up 5% on this news, and the Iranians announced this just 10 minutes before the markets open, as they know what they're doing. And just last night, there was also skirmishes between the US and Iran, where the US went and bombed Iran, and then Iran retaliated by throwing a missile at the US base in Kuwait. As you can imagine, this is a dream scenario for Netanyahu, as the IDF is issuing evacuation orders for Dahiya in Beirut, with large strikes incoming.
As a result of Israel's latest strikes in Lebanon, Iran has now officially announced they've suspended all negotiation messages with the United States. Iran and the resistance front have now moved forward on their agenda to completely blockade Hormuz and the activation of other fronts, including the full blockade of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, to punish the Zionists and their supporters. Iran has said time and time again that Lebanon has to be included in the ceasefire. It's non-negotiable. However, since Israel has launched heavy airstrikes on multiple different parts of Lebanon, Iran considers the ceasefire effectively violated on all fronts. Even though these strikes were carried out by Israel, Iran is holding Washington accountable. They argued continued U.S. military backing and the failure to restrain Israel constitutes U.S. noncompliance with the diplomatic process. Remember, just before all of this happened, it was reported that Netanyahu was furious behind the scenes because the U.S. and Iran were actively modifying a 14-clause draft MOU. Regional analysts point out that Netanyahu's sudden massive escalation of airstrikes in Beirut and southern Lebanon is a direct tactical response to his rage over these talks.
Well, y'all, as to be expected, Iran announced a short time ago that they are suspending any kind of peace talks with the US of A. They said amidst bombings that happen in Lebanon and Gaza, they don't want to have any peace conversations with us. And the Strait of Hormuz is going to stay closed in the meantime, between time. Y'all's president going to say this is news to him. And he didn't know that that's how, that was a decision that they were going to make. Oh, you didn't? They've been so clear. You know what irritates me about this administration? They have a real problem dealing with people that are principled. A lot of people have this issue. This is why they're trying to come for my boo Zoran about not going to that Israel Day parade, because he's principled and he already let y'all know where he stands on certain things. Similarly, these are principled people. We may not like their principles. We may not like their philosophies and certain things that they do, but they're principled nevertheless. And they've been said bombings in Lebanon needed to stop. Attacks in Lebanon needed to stop. That was a sticking point for them as far as negotiations. They've been said that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Izzy has never stopped attacking Lebanon. Period. So now here we are. We exchanged, the US and Iran exchanged strikes overnight. Izzy continues to strike Lebanon. We all know that Gaza continues to be in dire straits over there. And so Iran was like, you know what? Let's call the whole thing off. All right, we're good. And one could imagine what the gas prices have just done, right? As a result of this announcement. So who are the losers? The citizens, the civilians, us, okay? The Americans just trying to get gas. We're the losers in all of this. But in any event, y'all stay tuned. This is breaking news. This just occurred. I'm going to keep y'all posted as I always do. Make sure you're following along for all your updates in a timely manner.
Well, breaking fucking news. With all the bullshit going on across the United States, Iran has officially suspended talks with the United States. Talks suspended. Iran has suspended talks with the U.S. in protest over Israel's actions in Lebanon, which Tehran said violated the ceasefire. Semi-official Iranian state media has reported. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instructed the Israeli military strikes in Beirut, Dahi, probably said that incorrectly, I apologize, district, the city's southern suburb that is a stronghold for Iran-backed Hezbollah. It comes amid a broadening wave of Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon after Netanyahu and Israel would deepen its offensive. If you thought the bullshit was over, because we've all been focused on all the wrongdoings and shit going on here in the United States, you would be wrong. As Donald Trump prepares for a UFC fight on the White House lawn, yeah, just never thought you'd say. Probably never thought you'd hear some shit like that, right? Welcome.
Yeah, well, y'all, nothing is going right for Donald Trump these days. Yeah, he's having that UFC fight, and he's got a gnat infestation where they're putting the arena and putting the seats for people to sit in. And all of the acts that were supposed to perform for the 250th anniversary of America, out of 9, 7 have pulled out. I don't know why. Why can't he just get Kid Rock? He always have his loud, unruly ass up on the stage. You know, he can do his raps and do some drunken backflips and you know, where's the village people? You love that YMCA, you know? But yeah, look like he's canceling that. So I may be talking about that at another time. And y'all, to be fully honest with you, I don't think anybody's going to show up for that 250th year anniversary in DC. Number one, look at how much gas is out here. People are not going to drive to DC, and gas runs out a lot faster now. And, you know, the cost of plane tickets have gone up. Who's going to go? People are going to be more inclined, if they're going to barbecue, they're going to do that mess at home. They're going to do that at home. I doubt if they're going to go all the way to see. He may get a little crowd, you know, like that military parade he threw, and I don't think barely 2,000 people showed up, and that was it. But I will be shocked if it's a big crowd. I'm not anticipating a big crowd showing up in DC because the circumstances are just economically are not good for the average American to travel to DC. Maybe if you're already in DC, that's one thing. Or, you know, in Maryland where you're real close to it. But if you live in the Midwest or out west, I just don't see those people showing up in big numbers. You know? Well, no, but you know what? It was not right the way they invited those acts. I can understand why they canceled, y'all. They kind of got tricked into it. Their agents booked them to perform. They did not tell them it was for the 250-year anniversary and it was for Donald Trump. They didn't find out until after they were booked. And I said, you know why? Those agents knew if they mentioned Donald Trump, they would have automatically said no. But a lot of their agencies, the people that represent them, booked the acts, and they did not find out until afterwards it was for Donald Trump. And when they found out, they all canceled. So out of 9 performers, 7 canceled. So now Donald Trump is all mad, saying he's going to scrap the concerts altogether. Yeah, because you can't get nobody to perform for you. And guess what he's going to do instead? Have a rally. So he's going to be up babbling for 2 hours, I guess, running his mouth. And that's what he's going to have, a rally, because he can't get any real talent to show up and perform. So much for that 250-year anniversary of America is turning out to be a flop. That's why I'm telling you, it's supposed to be on the 4th of July. And we don't even know what the gas prices are going to be like on the 4th of July. They're already crazy now. That's why I know people are not going to burn up their gas to go to DC for some anniversary. I just don't think they're going to go. People are going to stay home. Well, the J6ers, they can go there. Yeah. It's not even enough of them. What, it's 1,600? They estimated 1,600 people. That's not even enough people for something like that. You would expect crowds of, like 50,000 people showing up, and stuff like that. Not 1,600. So my next live will be coming up at 1:45, where Donald Trump finally admits going after Iran was a huge mistake. I'm surprised he admitted it. So y'all, I will see you then. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support, and I will see you on my next live. Shalom, family.